talk about anything else.
We don't want to know.
We're dedicated, yes,
To our favorite shows.
Oh, my circuits!
Everybody loves Hypnotoad.
Scary dog!
Flirting at Blurnsball.
Futurama.
Good evening. You are listening to a Radulich and Broadcasting premiere podcast, TV Party Tonight. I'm your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And tonight, our favorite show is a very special episode of AEW Dynamite, New Year's Smash, nights 1 and 2, which took place over January 6th and January 13th. Here tonight to talk to me about AEW's New Year's Smash is the one and only podsman, Chris Bailey. How do you do, sir?
I am doing great, and man, I'm so excited after watching both of these episodes. I want to throw around a Marco Stunt or a Darby Allin. I just want to throw them around just for fun.
Yes, the world's greatest twink.
Yes, let's continue that conversation.
Never letting it go. Not letting it go until he does. All right, let's get into this. So yes, there were two nights. Night one was headlined by Kenny Omega against Rey Fenix. Night 2 was headlined by Darby Allin, speaking of getting thrown around, by the Machine Brian Cage. We started off the night with an 8-man tag. We had the Young Bucks and SoCal Uncensored featuring Chris Daniels and Frankie Kazarian, because I assume Scorpio Sky is like injured or something. Versus right now the best tag team in the history in current pro wrestling. Just
100%.
Easily the best tag team going right now, the most entertaining, the Acclaimed, and their two pets, the Hybrid 2.
So you're right. The Acclaimed is a different level of tag team. I mean, they gel right away as soon as their music starts and he does the rap. You're immediately engaged. And in the ring, these guys are talent, man. So you talk about the future on your screen, they're right there.
I think I talked to you on Holiday Bash about the Acclaimed and how much, like, I love the one guy, I don't know his name, whoever the rapper is of that duo. Like, he's so vicious, he's so mean. Like, I almost don't want to make this comparison because, like, anyone who's, like, a real rap fan would just roll their eyes, but bear with me here. Like, when John Cena first started doing...
I knew you were going to do it. I knew you were going to compare him to Cena. Okay, go.
When John Cena first, like, that first year of him being a heel and him doing freestyle diss raps on the way to the ring, like, John Cena was as dirty as they would allow him to be, given that level of television, but he was also vicious. Like, he really nailed people at times.
Oh, he was great. I tell you what, the Dr. Thugonomics thing is definitely worth revisiting. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, definitely one or two allusions to fisting someone in the ass. And
is there a problem with that?
It was definitely, like, John Cena would say some shit, and you'd, like, pull out your fan and go, "Oh! Oh, the vapors! The Cena!" Well, the Acclaimed have picked up right where he left off before he became a good guy and his rap sucked. He's so mean, he's so vicious, it's so fun, and it's, like, hilarious to me. Every time, like, I get excited now for when the Acclaim come out. I don't get excited for much during AEW. Like, there's a handful of guys I'm like, ooh, what's going to happen now? The Acclaimed do that for me. Like, as soon as they walk out, I'm like, what's he going to say now? And, yeah, this was good. The Young Bucks... I mean, the Young Bucks have wrestled the Hybrid too, I feel like, a million times, so it's like they know each other pretty well. They're similar, like, and Helico is fairly tall compared to the Jack Gallagher and Jack Evans and the Young Bucks, but they work well together. They do the flippity-doo stuff really well. Kazarian and Daniels are solid wrestlers of average height. I think Kazarian's a bit taller than Daniels. And the last thing,
I think that's a fair statement about SoCal Uncensored too. They're average wrestlers of average height.
Yeah,
that's all needs to be said.
And the Acclaimed, unlike, oh gosh, who's the other new tag team that you were telling me, like, but they've wrestled 100 times on Dark, Top Flight.
Top Flight, yeah.
Top Flight, who look like children, like the Acclaimed look like grown men.
Yep.
and they bring it, and I want to see the Acclaimed in like a 3 to 6 month feud with just wrestle the shit out of FTR.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, it's you're talking about like tradition versus like two punks. I mean, two punks that can back it up, which is even better. So nothing but acclaim for the Acclaimed.
So the good guys went over. Just about 10 minutes, a minute shy of 10 minutes. What did you think of this 8-man tag overall to kick it off?
SoCal Uncensored. I don't even know what to say about him. I mean, it's hard to watch him on TV. Chris Daniels, I think, is broken down, spindly legged, and I really don't know what to say. Right now, he's resorting to wearing the shirt because he's got a bit of the flab going on. The finish of this match was, they teased the Meltzer driver, but they didn't do it. And then you had Chris Daniels, who manages somehow to screw up the moonsault on almost every occasion, and they did like an inverted moonsault Meltzer driver for the finish on this one. And God bless, the poor, what's Jack Evans' team name? I can't remember the name again.
The Hybrid 2, Electric
The
Boogaloo.
Hybrid 2. Yeah, I mean, these poor guys, they're always constantly losing to the Young Bucks and all that type of stuff, so I'm starting to feel bad. I mean, poor Jack Evans should be dead. If you followed him in Ring of Honor, I mean, this guy took bumps that would make your eyes cross. I mean, really, really crazy. And the fact that he's still going just blows me away. I mean, he should be in similar shape to poor old Kazarian and Chris Daniels, but the boys are good. But anyway, I would say it was a fun, engaging match. Like you said, you had some new talent, lots of flippity doos. But, it was par for the course, good way to open the show.
The Hybrid 2 are the spiritual successors to Techno Team 2000.
Yes, sir. How come we didn't get more Techno Team 2000, by the way? Why?
Because we already had the Hardy Boys. All right.
Do you know that one Techno Team 2000 was Bill Watts' son, Eric Watts?
Oh, was he?
Yes.
There's a shock. There's a shock they didn't put a legacy wrestler over.
And they gave him a partner that nobody knew. Even better.
All right, so after the match, SCU, I need to get "This is the worst year ever" t-shirt. I really do.
What it feels like for them as well. Like, it feels like it's their worst year ever. It feels like it.
I need to go to like WrestleMania weekend, not this year because it's not going to happen, but like next year. I need to do like all 3 nights of just nothing but wrestling, NXT, WrestleMania, whatever is going on, like around because WrestleMania is like a huge convention time, like a whole bunch of people do their shows. The GCW Collective usually goes on at that time, and to anything I go to, I need to wear the "This is the worst year ever," my Orange Cassidy shirt that I got for Christmas, and Effie's Wrestling is Gay shirt. Oh boy.
I'm not even giving you a like on Facebook when you mention that. Forget it.
That's what everyone's getting for Christmas this year. Everyone got, Funko Pops. Everyone's getting a Wrestling is Gay shirt this year.
Of course.
SCU challenged the Young Bucks for the tag team titles. Kaz gets on the mic after the match and talks about the previous promise SCU made that they would no longer compete as a team if they lost. He says he'll be damned if that happens on his watch. This leads to an eventual respect challenge from SCU to the AEW tag team champs. The two teams pose on the top turnbuckles as SCU music plays and the announcer runs down. Some of the action still come later. And up next is Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley did a promo about how he basically was like, I have no time for shitty people. I'm not going anywhere. And that he would, as long as Jon Moxley has air in his lungs, Kenny Omega's not safe. So
I like the way AEW does their promos. They feel natural. They don't feel canned. You could tell that Moxley was just rhyming this stuff off the top of his head. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It felt natural. It's pure discourse. I mean, sometimes it's a little bit disjointed and they go places where, I'm sure the producers don't want them to go. But no, I really do like this style. And, you got your classic Jon Moxley slithering slime ball type of, I'm going to kick your ass type of promo. And I loved it.
John, go out there and sell the pay-per-view. Okay, 5 minutes later. Why is he talking about the Illuminati? I don't. This is why the WWE gives them scripts. Cut to commercial, for God's sake.
I think that they've done well with that, though. I don't think they've gone too far off course.
Did John Moxley just say the Holocaust didn't happen? Cut the commercial! God damn it!
Abort!
No, it's not that bad. But you're right. They sometimes you're like, that there has to be a happy medium between over scripting and no scripting. I think like the WWE used to do bullet points, and that's probably the best way to do it. Like stick to this structure, and then add your own flavor.
But the thing is that you get some repetition in AEW too, because I think you got a few of the guys who've just basically got the same sort of promo. You know what I mean? I'm going to kick your ass if there's blood left in my veins, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? And this is where you got a guy like Kingston who shines. Like, you know what I mean? This stuff is, you can tell that this guy took a lot of thought and put into his promo. So even Moxley is a decent promo too, man. So good on them. It was good.
So just going forward, it's looking like they're going to keep with Moxley and Omega, but Omega's kind of having two different storylines. There's the I'm the traveling champion Ric Flair storyline, and then he's still in a blood feud with John Moxley. So I don't know where we're going here. I mean, the next actual pay-per-view isn't until what? Is it I can't remember if it's February or March. No, it's it's February 27th, so we've still got over a month before AEW Revolution, which I would imagine has got to be the return match between Omega and Moxley, right?
I assume so. I think what we're going to see between now and then are a whole bunch of, mixed tags matches with, the Elite and, I mean, some of Omega's people and himself taking on Moxley and a collection of characters. So I think that's what we're going to see.
So we're not back in the ring just yet. Dasha interviews Chuck and Orange Cassidy, and then, of course, in comes Miro, who this was the most awkward fucking...
Ugh.
Like... I don't want to be too negative, and I don't want to spend the entire podcast, referencing Jim Cornette. But like, this is why Jim Cornette makes fun of Chuck Taylor. How long have you? This guy's been in wrestling forever, apparently, and he still can't talk.
Chuck Taylor looks like AJ Styles' retarded brother.
He really does.
He does.
Come along, dingus. Okay. I don't want to be a young boy. Shut the fuck up and get in the car. So that was the whole gist of this promo. That was basically they were making a match for night 2, and they kept referencing Young Boy, which I think it was Excalibur who had to explain what a Young Boy was, because right now everyone's like, why are they talking about like child pornography and yeah,
you know what I mean? Like mentioning young boys on American TV feels uncomfortable. So let your wife pass by the screen just in a random context and just let them talk about young boys and see what type of look you get.
Yeah, so it's like, if you lose, you'll be my young boy, and like your wife walks in the room and is like, did he just make him like a male child prostitute? Because he looks like a grown man.
I don't know if Chuck Taylor would be my first choice. But anyway.
Hey, listen, I work in the correctional industry. I have seen a lot of prostitutes. They're not all pretty.
No.
So anyway, moving on. So yeah, if I think if the match was if Chuck Taylor lost, then he would basically be Miro's butler. They had to like stop saying young boy.
But can you just say butler and not young boy, please? Just say something
I think again, there's no supervision, so they just let him do the promo, and then afterwards they're like, okay, well, you've now driven into an alley that we now have to back you idiots out of. This is why we don't let anyone talk except for Don Callis.
Tony Khan must be kicking over paint cans in the back watching this stuff.
I don't think he knew what a young boy was either. What are they talking about?
Oh man.
Okay, moving on. The next match was your Haas match, your Godzilla versus King. I was really looking forward to this. It was Jake Hager versus the Wardlow.
Yes. And the Wardlow was money. I don't know if you saw that match. This guy is money. He's got the look. And, man, this was a good match. Nuts and bolts, good.
Yeah, he needs to stop putting his hair up in that, like, sissy man bun that they all like to do. Like, could we just have a moratorium on man buns in 2021? Like, we did this in all of 2020. The man bun, the Seth Rollins and the man bun. fucking Roman Reigns and the man bun. I'm tired of it. It looks sissy. This is why we're going to lose to the Red Chinese if they ever invade. Stop it.
Okay. Oh, man.
Just stop with your stupid man buns already.
Yes, please.
You're grown men. Let your hair, if you have long hair, let it flow. Let it flow.
So what was interesting about this, you had the Wardlow getting the win. So, I mean, even, I don't know what kind of a deal they got going on with Jake Hager, but apparently there's a lot of goodwill surrounding Wardlow. So, I mean, he got the win with his modified F5, and they call it the F5, which is interesting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He got a clean victory over Jake Hager.
Yeah,
and then, of course,
Jake Hager hasn't been in a lot of stellar matches since his time in AEW. Like, he had that sleeper with Dustin. Like, for every one good match he has another stinker. And I think we've talked about this. He's actually had some, like, stinkers of the night in some cases. Like, he's had the worst match. So I was, like, I love good big man wrestling, but I was a little afraid this one was going to stink up the joint. And I'll tell you, Jake Hager stepped it up a notch, and him and Wardlow had a good, solid, medium-sized man wrestling match. But that's what made it great, was two large fellows had a good, medium-sized wrestler match.
Yeah, they definitely upped their game. And I tell you what, Wardlow was not chasing his tail here. He kept up, and he looked the part, man. This guy looks like if Roman Reigns stayed on the steroids. I mean, he really has a good presence in the ring. I mean, really, really, really solid. And the fact that they put him over here makes me question, where are they going? Are they pushing him a little bit more to the top? Because I'd be okay with that, I think.
Yeah, the Inner Circle stuff's kind of a mixed up mix right now. It's just a mess. So they have a lot. That's another one where they have multiple stories going on all at once. So we'll see what happens with the Wardlow. But yeah, man, change your style a little bit. Maybe grow some hair on the side of your head. And
so do you do the Shawn Michaels Diesel with him and MJF? That's the question. Like, do you stick Wardlow in Madison Square Garden's powerbombing Bob Backlund for the title out of nowhere? You know what I mean? Is this where you're headed? I think that would be a great idea. As a shock, the Wardlow comes out. And
I think for a very short run. See, here's the problem. There are like 3 or 4 guys Wardlow size that I would rather see do that. The Murder Hawk. So I think Wardlow, where he fits best right now is in the heater role and the occasional, like, fucking somebody up for one of the smaller guys. Like him wrestling somebody that MJF is in a feud with and beating the shit out of him. Soften him up for MJF. I think that's where he works best right now because he's still green and he needs work. That's why I'm amazed they pulled this match off.
Yeah, me too. It was a shock. You can tell that he's putting in the work, man. So, like I said, another future talent sitting there just waiting in the wind.
100% agree with you. All right, next backstage segment, where backstage we see Private Party bummed out that they don't have all the required party favors for this New Year's. I try not to fast forward now because we talk about this stuff, but boy, did this segment make my eyes fucking cross.
So what was this the one where they're questioning Matt Hardy about taking their 30%?
Yes.
Or was this the one he took their 30% and made them sign it over?
I think this was... So, here, let me just read this. Finally, Matt Hardy walks up and approaches the 3 guys and focuses his attention on Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy. Because Snoop Dogg had walked into the scene.
So that's another thing. Anyway, we'll get to that. He talks about getting everything done, paperwork-wise, to become their manager and earning 30%. He promises he took care of all the issues they specifically mentioned. I don't know where they're going with Private Party and Matt Hardy and like why they're doing this angle of he's becoming like a shyster Don King type manager for them. But how do you spell disinterest? M-A-T-T. You're not wrong.
A-R-D-Y. I don't know what's worse, this or when he was a schizophrenic.
Yeah, no, this is I don't know. This is really, really. Where do you go with it? So he doesn't have a tag team partner, yet the whole idea here is that he's taken advantage of a young up-and-coming talent like Private Party and, going to steal their money. So he's basically conned them in to taking 30% of their pay and just basically being their manager and making them do what he wants. So Basically, he's trying to live vicariously and still keep up with the money by taking it from some other talent. You know what I mean? And
Right.
this is exactly the parallel to his own career. So the Hardy Boys were in a similar situation when they started with a guy called the Italian Stallion, I believe it. If not, I read their book. And they had a situation where they had to break their contract. So this is basically real life playing out again. He's lived this, so they're just basically doing this on screen right now.
Okay, so basically they're like, well, we've given you a concussion twice. What do you want to do now?
Yep.
Here's this thing that happened to me for real. I'd like to play it out and sort of, and deal with my trauma. Like, okay.
That's what's happening. We're playing it out on screen.
All right, next was the weigh-ins. By the way, you don't do a weigh-in a week before. Just want to point that out there. Jesus Christ. I fucking hate wrestling.
Burger could add a couple pounds.
Like, oh, good. In a week from now, we'll fight. Terrific. Night before, same day weigh-ins. I just said like I hate wrestling for this reason because like I like wrestling when they sort of lean into its fantasy fighting. When they try to emulate real sports. And you know how I said a week or so ago that the only seeming connection between Sting and Darby Allin was some retard in the back with like, they both face their fate. Same retard. We want to make this like a real fight. How do we do it? Dar weigh-ins. Well, the shows are a week apart. Dar weigh-ins. Pizza party. All right. It's not the fucking UFC. It's not boxing. Cut it out.
You know what would be funny? Like Darby Allin weighs in at about exactly 150 pounds here. I can't remember what he weighed.
It was 170, yeah.
170? Bullshit. He does not weigh 170 at all either. So he weighed in at 150. Can you imagine if the following week he showed up at 230 pounds? Now that would be
I went to Friendly's and had a sundae.
Can you imagine that coffin drop? Oh, man.
Wow, he hit it with the coffin drop and shit all over the floor. It was fantastic.
Love it.
Anyway, this is a detail, and I'm making a big deal about it, but it really annoyed me. Don't do weigh-ins unless the show is the next night. You do a contract signing. And this feels like... Sorry, this feels like somebody said, we'll have him do a contract signing to build up for next week, and they were like, a contract signing, everyone does a contract signing. How about a weigh-in, and we'll make it like the UFC? No, you fucking assholes!
If this was Vince McMahon, he would intentionally do a weigh-in to embarrass Darby Allin to put on some weight. Look at you, for Jesus' sake. You're 170 pounds. My God.
You're right,
You know
and then they would have weighed him before the match, and if he didn't meet the weight requirement, they'd have stripped him of the belt.
Bingo.
Anyway, this is a long way to go to say that this was basically another like promo to embarrass Darby Allin and to set up their match for next week. I've already explained why this drove me nuts. Team Taz needs to start winning matches. Just by the way,
I'll tell you what Team Taz needs to do. Team Taz needs to realize, hey, there's some old fucker in the ring with a baseball bat. There's 5 of us. Let's fuck him up. My God. They got Powerhouse Hobbs. Send him in. He'll kill him.
I was going to say, if me and 3 football players are in the ring and my dad walks in with a bat, I'm not worrying about the bat.
Yeah, one guy take the bat to the, throw Powerhouse Hobbs into the bat. Then you got him. He's yours.
It's fucking 3 football players versus an octogenarian.
and his little pencil thin sidekick, Darby Allin. It doesn't make sense. The law of averages. They got 1.5 men in the ring there and a baseball bat. Let them have it.
All right, so this, of course, goes where it inevitably always goes. Darby Allin does actually talk in this one. He was just like, I've been dealing with people like you and shit like this my whole life. Oh, you poor thing, you.
Man.
And then as you're intimating, fucking Sting walked out again. They're like, ah, the bat! And they all run for it.
It's Sting! I think Tony Schiavone's even getting sick of it. It's Sting! Can you do something, please? Sting! Oh, I don't know. It's getting old, Marcus. He needs to do something.
Yeah. This is it. This is all he does. He walks out with a bat, and everyone shits their pants.
and the snow machine goes wild.
We'll get to it a little bit later when we talk about the actual match. But when they do the same routine at the end of night 2, my favorite part of the entire night was just Taz looking up at the snow machine like, what the fuck? Why has this become my life?
So good. So good.
Why does there have to be snow every time? At this point, they should just lean into it and give Sting like powers, like like
I can't wait. I can't wait till they start the Summer's Coming promos and bring back Surfer Sting.
and he goes from being Iceman to a water wizard.
I love it. Let's do it.
All right, moving on. The next segment, and they really need to stop doing 3 non-wrestling segments in a row. Like I like the fact there's only X amount of matches. I think like night 1 had 5 matches total. Night 2 had 6. But I like the 4 or 5 match structure. But break it up a little bit better than this, so that you're not doing 3 non-wrestling segments in a row, like every other one. I don't know. That's how I think it should work.
I agree, 100%.
Anyway, MJF goes to check on Jake Hager, and, you were really good at explaining this the last time, so this is more of what we talked about in the last review of MJF starting to ingratiate himself to the other members of the Inner Circle.
And he did the same thing here. So now he's putting on the friend card. So he didn't really get too far with Jake Hager last time. So now he's milking that little pony as well. So he's going in, he's trying to calm down, but he's really sly about it. So he's saying, oh, it's too bad that you really sucked and you lost again. You can't help it that you suck. It's not your fault that you suck. You know what I mean? So he's sort of giving him like backhanded compliments while trying to win his graces as well. And it's a nice little thing to see the worm squirm through the apple. I kind of like the angle. So we'll see where it goes.
In another segment that was backstage, they started in with an interview of the Jurassic Express, and then FTR came in like bullies and were like, "We want to fight you guys because you stink again." Like they've done this before, but sure, let's wrestle the Jurassic Express again. And then they're like, then they basically have been listening to our podcast or Jim Cornette's podcast, probably more likely Jim Cornette's, and they're like, you know what, you are useless, Marco Stunt.
And boy, did we find that out in night 2. Woo!
And so Marco Stunt gets all, takes umbrage to being called useless and says, well, that's it. I'll step in for the fucking Luchasaurus. Oh. We're going to bench the Luchasaurus, and I'll fight, me and Jungle Boy will fight FTR next week on night 2, New Year's Smash. Terrific.
That's another case of when your wife walks by the TV and, what are you watching? And we'll get to that in a minute.
Yup. Yep. All right. Klutzy Matt Sydal versus the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
Whoa!
With Snoop Dogg.
This was... Holy shit. Cody Rhodes, you are the center pin. Like, he's in charge of his own bookings, okay? Like, he puts himself over, and he chooses to pair himself with the Go Big Show host, Snoop Dogg, and he thinks this is getting over. So remember Diamond Dallas Page, Karl Malone, the Jay Leno shit, all this stuff recycled again. We're here. This is literally Nitro 2020 that we're watching here, and we get Snoop Dogg as the the fill-in celebrity, and this couldn't have gone worse. Mark, wow.
Am I wrong in saying that Snoop Dogg is an embarrassment to black people?
Yes. I think that you're right on the. If there's anybody out there who happens to be black, let us know.
Yeah,
just let us know what the black vibe is on Snoop Dogg. Cool or not cool? Are we just 2 white turkeys completely off base? You know what I mean?
I just like. I spent the first 5 to 10 minutes of this podcast gushing about the Acclaim, so it's not a race thing. It's literally like cool guys, old dorky guy. And I'm sorry,
like
Snoop Dogg. Look, I give him all the credit in the world. Snoop Dogg is like the world's greatest capitalist. He takes all the jobs, right?
Yep.
He'll do anything. If I paid him to be on this podcast, if whatever fee he's got to show up on whatever, I would imagine it's a tiered system. parking lot for children, X amount, fucking podcast, this much, YouTube show, this much, and it just kind of goes up to, like, feature movies. If you pay him his fee, he'll show up anywhere. Like I said, if I paid him his money, he'd be on this podcast going, yeah, I am embarrassing, bow, wow, wow. I get it, man. I don't begrudge him that. Snoop Dogg, make all your money. But you're an embarrassing old man. Please stop talking.
Not only that, his gimmick is stale. I mean, he used to go around bragging that he's smoking weed. Okay. Well, guess what? Kids have moved far from weed now. You know what I mean?
But even like if you're like a big pothead, he's still like there are other icons of weed out there.
This guy out here smoking weed. We're doing crack up our ass.
I'm sorry. I give him all the credit in the world for getting the Doritos commercials, but stop thinking you're now cool and you're like, the high point of cultural iconism when you've done commercials with fucking what's-her-face that went to prison. Martha Stewart. Margaret, what's wrong with me? Yeah, so when you're like, hey, Martha, pass me that green shit. You're not fucking cool anymore. Cut it out.
Cody Rhodes seems to think so.
Cody Rhodes isn't cool either. Look at his neck.
Look at that neck tattoo. We'll get into that on night 2.
Jane Cargill. She's cool.
Oh, no. No.
Oh, my God. She's the best. The Acclaimed and Jade Cargill. Give me 2 hours of them.
Jesus. I'm going to do my Steve Carell now. No.
She's so good. Anyway, we've completely not talked about this match. This match sucked, by the way.
Horrible.
Fucking, I don't understand how a guy like Matt Sydal, who was king of the flippy doos for a little bit there, can't fucking figure out his left foot from his right foot and keeps falling all over himself.
He's a day late and a dollar short, my friend. He's everywhere. Every single thing that he does, he's like a half a step off. Or other than that, maybe he's in the wrong spot at times. I don't know if it was just bad luck for Sydal, but ever since he's been in AEW, it's a slip off the rope. It's a missed kick with so much light that, Jesus, you would shine on a fucking parking lot. It's ridiculous. Like how much this guy has slipped off the map. And I mean, does he have talent? Yeah. Is he over? Absolutely not in any way, shape, or form. And I think there's a reason why WWE cut ties with Matt Sydal. I mean, he's just off. Like there's something just not there. I don't know.
I feel like he was injury prone in the WWE, which was part of it. And like, get injured.
What happens, Mark, when you're in WWE and you're injury prone? Tell me what happens.
You get cut.
You get cut, motherfucker. That's right.
Yeah, like they're not going to keep paying you. Like people go to the WWE to get paid. There's no doubt about that. I mean, there's a handful of marks on there. Like I want to be the WWE World Champion. Okay, blow me. I want to have a fake belt to be a fake champion. People go for the money.
Guy who wrestled John Cena on the main event of Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Put that in perspective.
Right, and they'll pay you. I mean, especially when they were worried about talent going to AEW, and since they signed that Saudi Arabian deal, there's multiple millions to be made per match if you're the right guy in the right spot. So but by the same token, then the WWE is like, but we're only paying you if you show up to work. If you keep fucking injuring yourself because you can't do your one thing that you say you can do. Like, I'm Matt Sydal. Was he in Ring of Honor before that?
Yeah, he was in Ring. He's been everywhere. He's been in Impact Wrestling. He's been in Ring of Honor. More specifically, Ring of Honor is more or less his home. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But he's been around everywhere.
So I'm Matt Sydal. I'm king of the indies. I was in Ring of Honor. I can do flippity-doos. Okay, do a flippity-doo. And he lands on his fucking head 9 out of 10 times.
Over and over and over.
They're like,
and these kicks that he does,
goodbye.
the kicks to the knees, they're just so soft, like you wouldn't break an egg.
Yeah. Matt, I understand, like, the going philosophy in AEW is to like grab guys from the indies that it's like either grab guys from the indies that have name recognition or grab guys from the indies that, like Top Flight, where they see like potential in them. Okay.
Yeah.
But not everybody, this isn't welfare. Not everyone needs a fucking job.
Matt Sydal does. He will need one after this too, because he ain't lasting here either.
God, send Matt Sydal to Impact.
Bring back Warhorse.
Bring back Warhorse. Yeah, I liked Warhorse. Moving on. So Cody Rhodes won this, and then Snoop Dogg fucking did an awkward splash onto him or whatever.
Oh, boy. Let's talk about the splash.
Okay.
So Cody Rhodes did get the win. And then you had a whole schmaz where you had, oh, my goodness. What were their names? Who attacked the ring? Who jumped them?
Oh, Serpentico. Where are all these midgets coming from? Why? Serpentico looks 3 feet fucking tall. Who is this person?
Now, I want the listeners to picture. You have a wrestler named Serpentico. Now, what are you picturing? Well, I'll tell you what I'm picturing. The leader of fucking Cobra in a giant gold uniform. Who goes,
Right.
Cobra!
Cobra! La, 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 la.
Instead, you get like this faceless 120-pound luchador who wouldn't kill anybody. And now he's got Snoop Dogg delivering possibly the slowest and worst Superfly splash you've ever seen. Man, that was tough to watch.
You know, I think it's Jim Cornette who quotes Dusty Rhodes saying, "Don't do shit you don't know how to do." I'm like, if you want to get Snoop Dogg involved, and he loves wrestling, and so he wants to do something. He looked really anxious up there. He looked way nervous. He looked like he was going to fall, and he looked like he was afraid to fall. Like, maybe don't do that then. Maybe throw a clothesline. It's gonna, no matter what you're fucking Snoop Dogg. You're basically Thanos. Everything you do, well, the guy will bump out of the ring for you. So
exactly. But I'll tell you what you do with Snoop Dogg. You don't bring him in as, Mr. Good Guy, Mr. Fan Favorite. You bring him in as this arrogant prick with the Acclaimed is what you do, man. You put the Acclaimed over. You get something out of it.
No, I don't want to get Snoop Dogg's oldness on the Acclaimed.
No, but here's what you do. You get the Acclaimed to turn on him and beat his ass.
Yeah, now we're talking. All right, Bailey, you've redeemed yourself.
See, this is where I was going, full circle. Of course I would not put that log of stink on the Acclaimed. But you get them to turn on him and break his ass. And now you got cred right there.
Yeah. Could you imagine, like now I'm picturing it in my head, they come out and, the Acclaimed and Snoop Dogg are like sharing verses, but like Snoop Dogg keeps cutting him off and like standing in front of him, and finally the Acclaimed just throw the mic down and kick the shit out of him.
There you go, and that's your money. Then Cody Rhodes or God bless Matt Sydal, they can save him, and then you got your little match going on.
Matt Sydal would trip on the way to the ring. It would be Cody Rhodes.
You're welcome.
Moving on. Okay, so the next was we had another match in a row here. We have Abaddon versus, as you like to call her, Mulan.
She is.
I love the fact that she's Japanese and Mulan was Chinese, and you don't care, white man.
Listen, she dresses like Mulan. She does. You cannot tell me that she doesn't have a Mulanish style garb coming out today.
She looks like punk rock Mulan. I won't lie.
Right. So Chinese, Japanese. I'm not going to say it's all the same, but she's definitely dressed like Mulan.
Chinese, Japanese, look at my knees.
Shut up. I'm not getting into that. I love all my Japanese and Chinese brothers and sisters. That's all I'll tell you.
There you go, Chris. Nice save.
I like Chinese food.
I like Chinese. I like Chinese.
No, I know you make fun of Abaddon, all right? You call her
I was getting there.
Chick at Hot Topic. The Marilyn Manson chick at Hot Topic. You keep calling her.
Yep.
So Abaddon comes out, and if you have not seen Abaddon,
Ugh.
so picture the pudgy little girl who listened to like 9 million, Marilyn Manson albums in her room, and she comes out after 7 years, and this is what she looks like after eating cheeseburgers. Her hair's all nasty. This girl is scary looking, dude. I don't care what you say. This gimmick works for me, and it creeps me the fuck out.
She's 5 feet tall. She's not an attractive lady.
Whoa, that's the understatement, my friend.
I'm not, because it's like people are like, wow, he's so mean.
He's not attractive, everybody. I just want you to know.
But it's like, because here's the thing, the doing up your face with face paint is sort of leaning into the fact that you're a monster. I dig that, but you have to have something going for you. So, okay. So I was thinking about this as they were wrestling. I was like, wow, she's like the Walmart female version of The Fiend.
Oh, did you see a part in the match? So she tries to do the tarantula thing where she...
Oh, God. I almost threw something at my fucking television, dude. I was like, what the fuck is that?
So Mulan is stuck in the corner. She just sat down on her ass. And she does this spot where she bridges up from her back. and she sort of walks towards her like the Bray Wyatt spider thing. You know what I mean? So she bridges up. She gets about halfway up, and she falls down. It is epic.
Don't do shit you don't know how to do. You're 5 feet tall and chubby. Stop doing bridges. Like, Bray Wyatt's so a big dude. You know what I mean? But, the reason why it worked with Bray Wyatt, even though he had a belly, was he was also a big guy, and he was clearly strong. He underneath the pudge, he had muscle. Yeah, and so when he
doesn't look like a fat boy. He looks like he's a very big-boned, thick dude. You know what I mean? Yeah.
He's a raw-boned motherfucker. And so when he crab walked, it was first of all, no one had done it before, and so it looked fucking scary, and it looked even scarier when this fat fuck did it. Okay? What's he doing?
I don't care. Listen, if you walked into a dark room and that fucking thing is coming at you, you're running. You are getting the hell out of there.
Why is this hobo crab walking at me? I'm out of here. I said hobo, H-O-B-O.
Come on.
And send your hate mail to xlapsed at Twitter.
My name is Chris Sheen, by the way. You can find me at Ace Comics on Twitter.
Anyway, so here's the thing. She has nothing going for her. She's short, she's fat, she's not attractive. One of those things has to change for this entire gimmick to work. It crushes under the weight of she's not even a good wrestler. Like, all she is a face-painted gal. This would be like if she would basically be if like the Road Warriors were 5 feet tall, short, and fat. Like, who'd be afraid of you? Like, all right, you painted up your face. So does my kid when he goes to the fair. You know, I mean, what? Who cares?
Holy shit. Love it.
Not a great match either. I think Sheeta Sheeta works.
Talk about the win.
Hang on,
Sheeta wins simple knee.
Hang on 1 second. Sheeta works at the level of whoever she's working against. If the person she's working against sucks, her matches suck. If the person she's working with is awesome, she can keep up with them, and the match is generally awesome.
She's not brings you to the next level. She's someone who follows suit.
Yeah. Now go ahead. Sorry.
And she won with a simple knee strike. So you got to think about the build, which this has built for an entire month and a little bit. And every single time, the entire thing is you can't kill the monster. Abaddon keeps coming. You know, you hit her with a Ratatan cane. She keeps getting up. You know what I mean? It's this thing where you throw her into the barrier. She keeps coming. She's under the ring. She's everywhere. She's haunting Mulan. She's trying to track this girl and kill her. And she beats her with a knee to the face. A straight, simple knee to the face with very, very little interaction. 1, 2, 3, this feud is over. What do you think?
Yeah. I don't know if Abaddon's going to get sent back to Dark. Send her to Impact. Just get rid of her. She sucks.
Oh, man. You're getting an Abaddon t-shirt for Christmas. I'm letting you know.
That's terrific. All right. Winner still champion. Mulan. Moving on. So after 2 shit matches in a row and a bunch of crap segments, we finally come to our main event. And I wrote this to you online. Kenny Omega's obnoxious, overtly long entrance is one of the best things in wrestling right now. It cracks me up every single time. Like, the stuff they have for the announcer to recite about his accomplishments cracks me up every single time.
I understand every bit of it until they get to... So, for any listener who doesn't know what it is, so remember when The Rock returned years ago and they had they were trying to tease that he was coming in and they really wouldn't get to the part where his name rolled across the screen until much later. So they do the similar thing. So you see a lot of city lights. You see a lot of Japanese signage. You see a lot of different things flowing on your screen. And the announcer is building this thing up. He's he's a tag team champion and he wrestled in New Japan. And they're going through his list of accomplishments forever. They're saying that he's super popular in Indiana and he's from Winnipeg, and it keeps going and going and going. And just when you think it's over, Then he sends two girls out in 80s jumpsuits or 80s workout gear, and they're sweeping. And then he comes out with Don Callis. It is the most orchestrated, over-the-top, amazing promo or actual entrance that you'll ever see, and I just love it. Yeah. And it's so obnoxious, it's so fun.
I have to say, like, the first time I ever saw Kenny Omega wrestle, and I may have mentioned this before, was on All In. And I guess he wrestled Paige at the time, and then Jericho interrupted at the end. He's like, "See you on the Jericho Cruise, jerky," and then ran away. So I had heard for years among my little wrestling circle of friends that Kenny Omega was like the shit, and it was talked about in wrestling circles that Kenny Omega was like was the biggest get you could get out there for the WWE if they could only get Kenny Omega. And then I saw Kenny Omega, and I'm like, I have no idea what the big fucking deal here is. Like, again, he's got the frizzy curly hair. He dresses like a schmuck. He's not the most attractive looking guy. He's not big. And then it was like, oh, but his matches are 8 stars in the Tokyo Dome. Good for fucking him. Like, I don't care. Like, he was a nothing wrestler to me. He goes the first year in AEW, and he goes on a losing streak. Then he teams up with Adam Page, and they're a tag team. Then they broke. Then they broke up because you don't know what you got till it's gone. Which is when the worm turned for me for Kenny Omega. I have to say, I was like, what's this gay shit here? You've got my attention, Kenny Omega.
Oh no.
So I was like, okay, and then they started with the sweepers bit. And and the obnoxious entrance, and then he won the title and basically became like modern Ric Flair. I'm like, This is the Kenny Omega I like. Every negative thing I just said goes out the window now because this is the perfect character for him. He's doing it great. He's obnoxious. He's not now. His size works in his favor because he's not the biggest guy. He's not the strongest guy. He's a guy that can put on like the best bout machine thing. Only works for me if it's a heel doing it. You know what I mean? Like the fact that you can have good wrestling matches, well, you should. You're a fucking professional. Everyone should be like a good wrestler at this 100%. Level.
And I why they had this pairing with Rey Fenix is to showcase his talent because there's a double-edged sword here. So Kenny Omega accepts the challenge of Rey Fenix. Now Rey Fenix is an undersized luchador. Okay, so there's a bit of a double-edged sword. So he's accepting this match, almost being like, oh, yeah, I'm defending my belt against everyone, when in reality, he's putting himself against someone he's clearly going to beat. You know what? Yeah. So, I mean, he's trying to put himself off as this, defensive champion and all this stuff who's got all kinds of cred. But really, he's taking a backdoor and a shortcut. You know what I mean? So it's pretty fun.
This was the bit that Johnny Gargano was doing on NXT for a little bit there, where it was like, I'm going to fight everyone but Damian Priest. And now Kenny Omega is avoiding Jon Moxley. But it actually works for Kenny Omega really well. I think they're playing into it really well. I love this match. I thought it was great. I thought, Kenny Omega works really well with a guy that can keep up and do the flippity-doos and do that style of match that Kenny Omega clearly has a passion for and wants to do. And it's like, well, it might not be my most favorite cup of tea. When he does it, I can't argue that it's not entertaining. It was like the best match of the night by a country mile. Granted, it had Mulan versus Abaddon to compete with, but and Cody Rhodes versus Klutzy, but so low bar. But it really was like I have to say, like Kenny Omega is putting a lot of his contemporaries in the company to fucking shame.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One thing I did like about this match, they were hitting hard, man. Like they were selling stiff shots. And there's one point in the match where Kenny Omega is in, Rey Fenix has him up in like a tombstone style position. And then he sits out a la Owen Hart, Steve Austin. And he murders Kenny Omega with this sit down power bomb. It is crazy. It looks like he drops him right on his head, like a stack of dimes, and it was scary. I was like, oh man, something just went wrong there. But these guys were doing everything. I mean, you talk about high flying and crisp action, this had it all. I loved it. Kenny Omega won with the V trigger. Oh no, one winged angel, I should say. And I just loved everything about the match.
So this next bit, that ended the night started off great, got even better, and then fucking took a dive into the gutter head first, screaming, "I regret nothing."
No. No, it was good. Go ahead. Tell them what happened.
All right, so they went into... So Don Callis comes out and goes into a whole thing about how no one's going to come save you, Ray Phoenix, and the Pentagon restrained backstage. And so they start beating the shit out of... They start beating the shit out of Phoenix, and out comes John Moxley. And John Moxley's got a baseball bat. And he starts going to town, and then out come the Good Brothers from Impact.
Yes.
Okay? Gallows and Anderson.
Surprise. They're out of nowhere. They come literally out of nowhere. They're invading.
So they beat down Moxley, they take the bat from him, and they attack him with that, then they put him through a table outside the ring. Okay, so far so good. This is it. This is the Bullet Club reuniting. This is Kenny. You know, this is more on the Impact AEW. What do you call it?
Crossover feud.
Invasion. So all of that. So far we're doing great. Everything happening is amazing. Omega taunts Mox and then goes on to talk trash in the camera when out of nowhere Mox pops up and tries fighting back, only to be squashed again by the Good Brothers and Omega. All right, and that's probably where this should have ended, with them basically sticking their foot in John Moxley's mouth, you know, doing the gun, doing the gun salute, and that's the end. But then the Young Bucks came out. And unless the Young Bucks had attacked Mox, I don't understand what was the point of this other than the picture that they took. Because, what should have happened was the Young Bucks, looked like they were going to come, have a face-off and look like they're going to come to the aid of John Moxley, and then they turn and beat the shit out of him, and there's more kicking of John Moxley, and, he has to get carted out, and then, boom, Bullet Club. Okay? That's one way to do this. The other way to do it, don't do it at all. You had a perfect ending with Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers.
Yep.
It was fine. The other thing you could have done is have the Young Bucks do what they did, but not stupid. So the Young...
They tried to keep it a little bit, with a little bit of doubt. You were left guessing, are the Young Bucks on side? Are they just, going with the motions? Or are they legit, on side with this team?
So if the Young Bucks were going to come out and help John Moxley, then then the Young Bucks come out and they fight with Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, and you have a pull-apart to end the show. Okay? Right. That was a third way. What they did was they had the Young Bucks come out there and just go, "Oh, man. Man! Why, man? You used to be cool, man." Okay, but remember the Bullet Club? Yeah, we remember the Bullet Club. Want to do the thing? I mean, if we're here... We still have a minute of camera time, so the thing, and they did the thing, and then it was over.
And everybody too sweets, and we're left going, wow, the Elite is back together, the Bullet Club is here, so it was pretty cool. But you're right, the way that they got there with the Young Bucks portion of that was stupid, really.
So let me read this because I guess I missed this before. So the Young Bucks run down and hit the ring. Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman also out at ringside, and we see the Young Bucks hit super kicks on Garrison and Pillman.
Yep. poor Garrison and Pillman. The Varsity Blondes getting the shit kicked out of them again this week on AEW Dynamite.
Right. So again, oh man, you used to be cool, want to do the thing. Hey, let's super kick these two jobbers. Okay. And then the thing.
And then the thing.
This was a mixed bag. Two awesome matches. Everything else, it was a shit sandwich. Two great, succulent pieces of bread with poop in the middle.
Yep.
And then a piece of garnish. No one knows quite what it is. You're not going to eat it. I don't know why it's there, but it made
the purpose of all this was to get that photo for Twitter. You know what I mean? Everybody too sweet. How they got there was not important. And it left that buzz for next week's episode 2. So it was a cliffhanger, basically, you got there. And I think it did the job.
I mean, yeah, but again, here's what I'll say about that. Don't do stuff just to do it. Do stuff because it makes sense in the story. Or do stuff that's at the very least going to be interesting on television. They did none of those things. Like they started to, and then I just wouldn't have had the Young Bucks come out at all, or I would have had the Young Bucks attack Jon Moxley.
Yes.
All right, moving on. So night two, baby. We start off with the Bastard Pac versus Eddie Kingston. They had a solid match. It
went on forever.
It was less than 10 minutes. Calm down.
Oh, it felt like my nuts in a blender.
So this furthers the feud of the Death Triangle and the Eddie Kingston family. It went 9 minutes and 30 seconds, and Pac.
Oh, bullshit! There's no way it went 9 minutes. And 30 seconds. This felt 45 minutes-ish. Anyway, continue on.
They tore apart the ring. The Undertaker came down. All right.
Marty Jannetty became the Undertaker and resurrected himself. It all happened.
Yes. In less than 10 minutes, believe it or not, Pac defeated Eddie Kingston with a submission. Eddie Kingston in that group is another one that could, like them and Team Taz need to get some wins on TV. What the fuck?
Yeah, they're just too good. There's too much talent and one-sidedness that they got to start. They got to stop losing to the geriatrics and the the coat hanger kid. They got to start racking up wins here. They're tough guys.
But this company loves the shit out of Pac. I don't think Pac ever loses. Like he's the most winningest guy to not have a belt.
No, I lost though watching this one.
All right. I thought it was a solid match though.
It's all right.
It's all right. It's all right.
It's all right.
After the match, as soon as he scores the pin, Pac rolls and locks in the arm submission finisher on Kingston to add insult to injury. Now all members of the Death Triangle and the Eddie Kingston family hit the ring and square off. Then the Murder Hawk came out with Jake Roberts, and he gets in the ring and he clears the Eddie Kingston family out. And he gets in Pac's face and tells him to get things in order and then walks off.
Yeah, it was sort of weird. And Jake the Snake is growing by the day.
He needs to get back on the DDP yoga.
Bang! Anyway.
I want to make a slight suggestion here. I know people listening to the podcast they talk more about what they would do and not what they actually saw. But bear with me here. Every time the Murder Hawk monster comes out, somebody needs to go through a table or out a window.
Yes. Or not just be chastised. It's not good enough.
No. The Murder Hawk monster needs to not talk. That's what he has Jake Roberts for.
Yep.
So, if they wanted him to come out and quote-unquote chastise Pac, he just should have came out and thrown Pac into fucking Georgia.
And then have Jake the Snake do his little, now I'm going to have my way with you, my man, sort of shit. You know what I mean? That's what he should have done.
They could have literally just had Jake Roberts say, You're out of order. You're out of order. This whole fucking house is out of order.
Right.
And waddle to the back.
And Pac is dead. It wins all the way around.
Yep. Don't talk show. AEW, don't talk show. All right, next match. Chuck Taylor with Orange Cassidy versus the Best Man, Miro, with Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford. They tried. It wasn't. I don't know. This wasn't a badly wrestled match. There were no obvious mess ups, but there's not much of a story here, and Chuck Taylor got way too much offense on Miro.
Oh man, I thought Miro, this is Miro versus AJ Styles welfare version. And I tell you what, it was a real quality showcase for Miro. The problem is, this character's not framed right, Mark. You got him as a comedy best friend character who's a killer in the ring, and it doesn't translate. I mean, even his clothes, his attire, it just reeks of stupid idiot. You know what I mean? He makes me cringe coming out. I mean, Penelope Ford is a beautiful lady, and I just don't want her on my screen anymore. It makes me ill. I don't know what it is. I like beautiful women, and she's one, and I don't want to be with her. You know what I mean?
It's rough.
That bad of an angle.
So Miro looks like a guy who's going to be wrestling well into his 70s because he spent all of his money on shitty sweat outfits.
Love it. Miro wear.
They brought in this guy who at the height... I wrote to Jim Cornette and Brian Lesnar, can you please do a watch along? Because they constantly bitch about Miro. And, like, why is this guy, he just... They don't understand the appeal. And Brian Les gets it more than Jim Cornette does. Because Jim Cornette didn't see... was where I'm going with this. Jim Cornette didn't see Rusev at the height of Rusev.
Right. No,
he
you're
only
right.
saw him as the cuck, maybe a little bit. And then he's seen him in AEW. And, yeah, he's been booked like a schmuck. He's been booked like a schmuck for a few years now. Because he never quite got back on the horse after the feud with Cena. But at the height of that feud with Cena, when he was the U.S. champion and he had that run where he caught through everybody and he looked like an unstoppable fucking beast.
He had Lana. He had his Russian interpreter. She was hot as balls. You had him. He was on a fire streak. He was riding to the ring in tanks.
I was just getting that. At the height of Rusev Mania, he came to the ring on a tank.
It was amazing. And now, he's a blonde-haired gamer hanging out with Penelope Ford and her stupid man as their best man.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Where did we go wrong? This
is what I'm saying. Like, he spends his money on expensive clothes, but it's expensive clothes that look like he's a rich hobo.
It's a little feminine. I will say that.
It's awful. So, yeah, you're right. He's framed all wrong. He's booked all wrong. And then it's like, okay, but then he'll at least, Miro went fucking head to head with John Cena. Miro went head to head with Bobby Lashley. And in both of those cases, you can make the case of this should be back and forth 50-50.
Yep.
Anybody less than Bobby Lashley or John Cena shouldn't be going 50-50 with fucking Miro.
Nope. Instead, you got fuck Taylor.
I was going to say, and the high school gym teacher took him to task.
And now he's a young boy, which is another area of complexity.
So yeah, essentially now he's Virgil to Rusev's off-brand Russian interpretation of the $1 Million Man.
So what happens here now? Does Orange Cassidy come and try to save him from his station in life now?
90 pounds of Orange Cassidy is going to punch Miro, and Miro's going to go into the atmosphere.
Oh, I just can't stand this angle. Just stop and die, will you? Stop.
Well, this whole thing's going to culminate at Beach Bash. That's the next big AEW Dynamite that we're doing. Yeah. All right. Fucking Beach Bash, baby. Woo!
Let's call it all off. I'll marry Penelope.
Terrific. Ask Roxanne if she's into polyamory.
I'll convince her. She'll understand.
That's fine. Moving on. So Dasha, so this is what you were talking about before. Dasha talks to Private Party, and they do the continuation of the bit we talked about 20, 30 minutes ago, where Hardy gets 30%, and they're whining about it. They call him a money-grabbing carny. Hardy is offended by the disrespect. He tells them that the fans don't care about them. He says he learned that the hard way it all out. And he says when he tells them to jump, they better respond how high, and he orders them to walk off, and they do. That's a little uncomfortable, don't you think? Why is the Southern white man yelling at the two black guys to do as they're told?
This is misframed, an attempt at bringing real life into a storyline, and it does not work.
How many episodes of Dynamite until they come out in chains? That's a Harlem Heat joke, everybody.
Kane and Cole, baby.
That's a Harlem Heat joke.
Yep, Colonel Robert Parker and the whole nine. Let's do it.
All right. We get another segment, this one in the ring. This is the Inner Circle's New Year's resolutions, and I'm going to skip to the part that makes sense here. That Chris Jericho, instead of the awkward, stupid comedy that they tried at the beginning, the point of this entire interview was to announce that Chris Jericho and MJF were going for the tag team titles, and fucking Sammy Guevara, rightly so, called him a tag team slut, and rightly called that. I loved this segment only because it kept in continuity.
Yes, it did. It actually spoke to the obviousness of all these angles. So Chris Jericho is just bouncing from partner to partner with no rhyme, no reason since losing the championship. And he got called out by Sammy Guevara. I think the entire purpose of this entire segment was to create the team of Sammy Hagar, which I thought was just the funniest thing. So Sammy Guevara and Jake Hager are now a tag team going to be facing off next week, I think, against the other two partners or sets of teams or whatever. And their tag team name is now Sammy Hager, and that's hilarious. I don't care.
Oh, it is. And if they don't lean into it, it's a missed opportunity because Sammy Hagar just released a new album.
I would bring out Sammy Hagar with them. It would just be money.
And let's throw him off the top rope, too, awkwardly.
Why not?
Because at this point, why not? Why preserve any degree of believability?
It's Sammy Hagar! It's Sammy Hagar!
Ah, Sammy! Hitting people with tequila bottles, it'll be great.
Oh, Jesus. No.
Oh, my God, could you imagine? Like, he like, runs out, smashes the tequila bottle over, like, Private Party's head and just looks into the camera, Mas tequila, and runs away. Two people got that joke. All right. All the big Sammy Hagar fans.
Amazing.
They set up a three-way match for next week for the big 20th show, and it's MJF and Chris Jericho versus Sammy Hagar versus Proud and Powerful. Terrific.
I hate Proud and Powerful, that name. I hate it.
Why?
For obvious reasons. Just look at it. You're proud and powerful. What kind of team do you picture coming out? But
the
horrible.
Road Warriors. I get it, but not two Puerto Rican garbage men. It's fine. Anyone can be proud and powerful. Black is beautiful. Shut up, Bailey. This next segment was I think written by -1.
I think it was too.
Only a child could have come up with this next segment. So Alex Marvetta's with the Dark Order. He asked them about the Brody Lee thing, and they're like, "Oh, Brody Lee." And then Adam Page comes in, and
they basically try to recruit him or tell him that he is recruited. And they believe that he's going to join them next week.
Right. And then they ask if he's ever going to join them. God, the screen keeps moving on me. They ask if he's going to join them, and they say, how about next week after their match? And Hangman agrees and walks off, then says he's in, and there's a hug of celebration, and then we head to another commercial. Terrific.
Yep. Horrible.
This is a weird angle. I don't understand what's happening. Also, excuse me. Also, like, kind of weird that there's no tension. They're like, what's going to, I'll tell you next week. Okay. Tension. Well, I'll tell you now. No tension.
Yep.
Weird storytelling.
Dumpster fire.
But like I said, absolutely written by an 8-year-old. We got a package on Darby Allin, telling this full story of him and Team Taz. Moving on, we're backstage with the band is back together. We hear Don Callis along with the AEW World Champion Kenny Omega, and the AEW World Tag Team Champion is the Young Bucks, and they talk briefly, and they'll say they see each other out there. From there, we head into the arena where Justin Roberts announces a 6-man, which you think is going to be Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, but really, it's Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers.
Yes, and I like the way they did that. So they set it up in the backstage promo, where basically Don Callis is telling the Young Bucks to hold back because they want Kenny Omega, the champion, to have his own entrance. And then when it's time, I'll call out the tag team champions. So they automatically assume it's them. But it's not. It's the Impact tag team champions, the Good Brothers. And it was a good little swerve. I liked it.
Okay. I didn't see what the point of any of that was. Like, you just put them together. Why are you now introducing tension into this unit?
Because it's a vague get-together, and it was poorly rendered the first time, week 1, so they're continuing the shit show.
Okay. Hey, this didn't work the first time. Should we keep doing it?
Let's completely fuck this thing up. I think we got to do that.
Okay. As usual, AEW with fucking ADD storytelling. Anyway, Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers took on 3 jobbers. Your thoughts?
Just an absolute decimation, of course. That's all this ever was. I mean, just a complete slaughter. Was this the Varsity Blondes?
Yes. And Danny Limelight, who they were making a big deal out of.
Oh, man, this Danny Limelight guy. He's what's wrong with pro wrestling. All kinds of flippity-doos. He's all kinds of flippity-doos. There's absolutely nothing there. There's no storyline reason for him to be on the show. There's no reason why he exists in life. There's no reason. Like, he should not be alive. I don't understand. And the Varsity Blondes, I love this team. There's something that I like about them. They're, trying to play tribute to, Brian Pillman and Steve Austin, but they're going a little bit like with the, the spunky 80s, good guy, babyface tag team of the 80s. You know what I mean? Two good guys, nice, beautiful kids, with the long flowing hair, and they're getting their ass handed to them by Doc and Gallows, Doc Gallows and the boys. I mean, it's really, really, it was just a cluster mess to put these guys over and continue. It literally served no purpose, but I enjoyed it for what it was. It was a good beating.
Yeah, look, I like a good squash match.
Yeah, me too.
And so if you're putting this unit together and you need to give them good wins, like that part of the storytelling I like. Yes,
Absolutely.
Make Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers look strong. Oh, and these were three guys that could do that for them. I don't think my opinion on the actual wrestling of the match was fine. I almost would have preferred it if they had squashed them faster. This was less than 10 minutes. It probably it could have been 5 minutes, and it would have been just as effective, possibly more.
It was fun. It did nothing, but anyway, it was fun. It was all right.
Okay, John Moxley's music hits. Mox makes his trademark entrance through the section of the amphitheater. Boy, what a surprise attack to let you know that, what a surprise attack as you saunter from the middle of the arena, making your merry way, skipping along down to the ring. He's coming! He's coming! He'll get here eventually.
It's one of these things. It's like the Sting Darby Allin thing. It should be like, okay, it's one guy. We're going to fuck this guy up. Perfect. Keep walking.
The Good Brothers swarm, and the numbers game is eventually too much for him. Out of nowhere comes Ray Phoenix. The brawl spreads into the ring and out of the ring, and eventually officials run from the back to break things up. We see Mox hit a paradigm shift on some poor schmuck. And then dive through the ropes onto Omega. He rolls back in the ring and follows after him. The Young Bucks hit the ring and try to calm Moxley down. Ray Phoenix and Pentagon Jr. hit the ring behind them, and when the Young Bucks turn around, they each blast them with super kicks of their own. Phoenix and Pentagon follow that up with more attacks, and the officials hit the ring to break them up. And Omega and Callis make a run for it.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was. I mean, there was not a hell of a lot to it. Not a lot of storytelling here, but just carrying on this feud. And who is going to be the partners for John Moxley to take on these other three? Will it be the Young Bucks? Who knows?
Well, it would have made sense if they had tried to save him for them to then partner up.
Well, it's coming. Trust me.
We talk about this a lot on Damn You Hollywood, and to a lesser degree on TV Party Tonight, but nagging is not a way to resolve a conflict.
Oh, no, definitely not. Definitely not.
God damn. All right. This next fucking segment was written on drugs.
Is this the Britt Baker section?
Yes.
Holy shit. Okay. The worst thing that's ever been on TV in 2020. In 2021 included. Horrible. Go ahead.
So Britt Baker, they gave her a Piper's Pit. And it's called the waiting room because she's a dentist. Get it? She's a dentist. She's Dr. Britt Baker. Get it? She's a dentist. The waiting room. Do you get it? Anyway, so Britt Baker brings out Cody Rhodes, and then she goes into her tight 5 minutes of comedy, which is immediately interrupted by Jane Cargill, who is the best thing on this show.
No.
Jane Cargill then goes into a fucking rant about how I was supposed to be in a feud with Brandy, but she went and got herself knocked up, and you were supposed to get me an opponent, and Shaq, and Shoes, and Clouds, and Taco, and yeah! And Cody Rhodes is like, wow, do you need a teleprompter?
Oh, man, it was all over the place. This segment was a mess. The only thing that I really liked was Britt Baker's friend Rebel on the back couch going, that was hilarious. But this was, what are they doing? Cody Rhodes, you're in the worst segments on both shows. First you got Snoop Dogg, now you got this clown. Oh my God, I don't want to see Shaq. It's bad enough you had Snoop Dogg, now we got Shaq. Oh man.
All right, so after Jane Cargill reads, from the Declaration of Independence, I'm Jane Cargill. 7 years ago. She's great. Outruns this diminutive black woman, by comparison, Velvet Cake, or Velvet Ropes, Velvet Sky.
I have no idea who this was.
She's been in a few segments now. I don't know if you watch Dark. She's never wrestled on Dark.
Yeah, I've seen her before, but I didn't she didn't place in my mind who it was or why she's there.
Okay. So Jane Cargill is a big gal, and then Red Velvet is about your average sized woman, and she looks way short compared to. So there's this. So like you're supposed to be sending somebody out to confront Jade Cargill, and you send out this woman who she looks like if she could just step on and squish.
Yeah.
Like they don't look at this stuff before they put it to camera to see if it's going to make any degree of sense.
Nope.
So
this was a train wreck. I mean, they had a vicious brawl. I mean, this was a big tear apart brawl.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand why they were fighting. I mean, yeah, she's going to be the one who's taking her on, but is there any fan interest? Does it make sense in the narrative? None of it makes sense. It's a black hole.
And then because this wasn't enough, we have to always go too far. They play a video of Thunder Rosa.
What was that? That seemed like it was, oh yeah, and Thunder Rosa.
Right. Hey,
why couldn't it have been Thunder Rosa who came through the door and attacked her? Game over. That's where we got to get to. But no, sir.
She's fighting Britt Baker at Beach Break. That was the point of that.
Oh my God, terrible. Three-way dance. Nobody cares.
Yeah, this was, like I said, the segment with the Dark Order and Adam Page was written by an elementary school child. This one was written by somebody who's on meth.
Oh, someone needs to track this down. If you haven't seen Dynamite, pirate it just to find this, because this is the worst of wrestling right here. This is literally it right here on screen, and it was pure trash.
Next was the Jungle Express featuring Jungle Boy and the world's greatest twink, Marco Stunt.
Speaking of trash,
versus FTR. Here's what should have happened. FTR should have taken Jungle Boy out either before the match or like right at the beginning of the match, just like ran in there, picked him up, thrown him through a table, threw chairs on top of him, cornered Marco Stunt, beat the shit out of him, and they carry Marco Stunt's dead, lifeless body away, and then FTR say, we're done with fucking joke tag teams around here. This was a warning.
Exactly.
That should have been the end
100%.
of that.
100%. It was all over the place. So here's basically what happened. So you had FTR basically beating the crap out of a midget while he scrambled to try to get tagged in.
And the midget got booked 50-50.
It was uncomfortable. I think it really, really looked bad on screen. FTR is a lot better than this. And I think that if I'm FTR, then I'm upset that this match is happening on screen. And why are we not seeing Luchasaurus in this ring with Jungle Boy as a tag team? Marco Stunt is their manager, and I think he's an effective one. And give him his little Hurricane Rana spot, and we're good.
Right.
But this is not the match you see on TV. This is degrading to both parties, and it only hurts the Jurassic Express to have this on screen.
What the fuck? Why did they let Little Haiti beat King Kong Bundy?
They did not. King Kong Bundy squashed. It wasn't Little Haiti. It was Little Beaver.
Oh, whatever.
And Bundy killed him.
Exactly.
Yes.
Look, we're both wrestling fans.
Beaver. Put it in perspective. Little Beaver. Let's repeat that over and over on the screen.
We are lifelong 30-plus year wrestling fans.
Yes.
We have seen people lit on fire and blown up and all kinds of nonsense, and yet we continue to, suspend disbelief because we enjoy the overall presentation of wrestling.
Yep.
When you put a midget in the ring with two wrestlers who at the height of their wrestling career were the two best were the two best wrestlers, two of the best wrestlers, pure wrestlers in modern professional wrestling, and he's booked 50-50, I cannot take this seriously anymore. I can't take anyone involved seriously, and I think the people running your company are a bunch of clowns.
It looks uncomfortable. It looks like you've got an adolescent boy and you're playing wrestling with him, and I don't like that. I feel uncomfortable and dirty.
Yeah, like it's one thing to let a lot of these like skinny, fucking muscleless creatures like Orange Cassidy get wins because, okay, he's got like Darby Allin. There's so much of this. Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, Marco Stunt.
Yeah, it's way too much. It's way too much. And, like, you know what? You've got so many giant meatheads, too. You've got the Wardlow. You've got the Murder Hawk. You've got, who else do you got here? I mean, there's just Brian Cage, for God's sake. Powerhouse Hobbs. And they can't defeat these guys. And it just makes me crazy.
Yeah, I actually I can't add anything to that. It's 110% right. And I really want to like AEW, and we have people listen to this podcast who have heard us sing their praises. This was not a high moment for them. This was.
I can't wait for AEW's next on TV pay-per-view. AEW kill the midgets. I'll be all over it.
No, they don't. That's the problem. Marco Stunt's going to end up beating Kenny Omega. I'm
saying that's what I want to see. I want to see 3 matches. One with Orange Cassidy. He's dead right away. Murder Hawk. FTR versus Marco Stunt. They literally tear his head off. Good. And then, finally, Powerhouse Hobbs and Brian Cage kill in the middle of the ring the other little dork, Darby Allin. If that would be my show, I would love it. 8 out of 5 stars at the Tokyo Dome.
So, we talked about when we did the Winter is Coming show, and we talked about where is this going with Kenny Omega. It's going to be a year-long reign of terror that ends with Adam Page kicking out of the One-Winged Angel. What if it isn't? What if they pull a Bobby Roode and they don't give it to him, and he gets pinned with the One-Winged Angel again? But
terrible.
The one who beats Kenny Omega and becomes AEW World Heavyweight Champion, who kicks out of the One-Winged Angel, Marco Stunt.
Oh, fuck that. No! No!
It is January 14th, 2021. I'm fucking calling it now.
Oh, terrible. Yuck. Move along. Let's get it.
AEW Full Gear, your new World Heavyweight Champion, Marco Stunt, when he kicks out of the One-Winged Angel.
I quit wrestling. Right there. That's it.
I just want it timestamped. I called it right now.
I'll go to my wife and say, I was wrong all along. You're right.
You're right.
There's something
Wrestling.
wrong with me.
You're right. Wrestling is for nerds. I'm going to go make beer in the basement now. Like a real man.
Oh, man.
Tay Conti versus Serena Deeb for the NWA Women's Championship. This was good. I thought this was, especially after the nonsense we've seen up to this point, they put on a wrestler's wrestling match.
It was.
Tay Conti actually held up her end. Serena Deeb we already knew was good. Serena Deeb ended up winning at 9 minutes and 30 seconds. And I thought this was probably the best match of the night, to be honest with you.
100%. Serena Deeb, who looks like Elaine from Seinfeld, just skinnier version and in shape. I thought she's really, really good. Nuts and bolts. She's the best wrestler on this card tonight. And it was really good. And like you said, Tay Conti, surprising. I mean, her moves were crisp. The entire match was crisp. There was no off moments. It didn't feel like you were watching a stereotypical women's match where, you're a half pace off or, you're that Statlander misses where you're just, missing moves all over the place. But I don't know. I really did like it. I thought it was great. And you know what? Still NWA champion, Serena Deeb. And I like her. I really do like her. That belt is horrible, though. Oh, my God. She's got a belt that looks like it came from a dollar store.
So we've been seeing the NWA Women's Champion and a lot of the NWA wrestlers on AEW, and AEW, to one degree or another, has made pretty good use of them. No Magnus, no NWA Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, Magnus is the one holdout. That would be amazing. Magnus versus Omega. I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Bring it forward.
Problem is, it would be Magnus versus Marco Stunt, and Marco Stunt would win.
Oh. I'm getting angry.
I'm making a call after this. I don't want to do podcasts with you anymore. You're too negative. I could handle you wanting to come in Roman Reigns' eye, but this Marco Stunt thing you're doing, too much.
I love it.
That's what Bailey's going to say to me in a private text message filled with tears.
We're done.
All right. In our main event of the night, Darby Allin defended his TNT championship against the Machine, Brian Cage, with Ricky Starks and Hook. at the ringside and Taz on the commentary. And this was a good match.
Mark, this was like jacking off, and it's going really, really well. It is like really, really good. You're enjoying every stroke. You're like, oh yeah, kill him again. Oh yes, I'm almost there. And then he fucking beats Brian Cage. No. And then you get a dribble, and that's it. I hate it.
We just said this, but the whole reason why the Darby Allin thing doesn't work nearly as well as it should is because we've already seen midgets beat bigger guys earlier in the show.
It's too much. Too many midgets. Too many wins.
Yep. So, you're 110% right. Watching Brian Cage murder Darby Allin is hilarious.
So it was so good. I was really, really enjoying this match.
He tossed him into the fucking table, and I was like, "How are you not dead?"
Listen, I'm going to give Darby Allin credit. I know I'm beating up on the skinny guys, but man, this guy takes bumps like he's a madman, and he's really, really, really good at it. And Brian Cage does not care. That series of power bombs he was giving him, oh my God, it's just like one got even harder than the next, and you're like, oh my God, he killed him on that one. Nope, he's dead again. Oh my, he's fucking killed. It was so good.
Yeah.
So good. And then, of course, Darby Allin, they get on the top rope. They're setting up a power move, and Darby Allin rolls him up for a little roll-up type move, and Brian Cage loses.
Yep.
Horrible.
Well, I like how he beat him. He beat him with the top rope crucifix. And Brian Cage, and again, Brian Cage wasn't out cold momentarily. No. He was struggling to get out of a lock.
Yep. And
at least that's in continuity with Brian Cage, who for a wrestler has a difficult time with wrestling.
Yeah, I agree. This was very good though. Like the moves were stiff. Darby Allin was selling his ass off. I mean, it was so good.
Yep. I thought, as far as isolated from everything else that happened in the show, this was great. This was a different flavor than the Serena Deeb Ty Conti match, but still one of the better matches. If you don't think about what happened previously, Darby Allin got color. Darby Allin took a bunch of really stiff bumps. And then he put Cage away with something that Cage struggles with. So it was believable, And then of course Team Taz does the one thing they can do.
Yeah. Team Taz dies in the snow.
Yep, and we're back to Taz. It's like, why is it snowing in here again? Why?
But it was so thick. So it ended up on the ramp. So of course Sting comes out again, yada yada yada, repeat, rinse, recycle. And it's hilarious because one of the parting shots is Team Taz up on the entrance ramp, and the snow machine is on full blast on these guys, and they look like they had come out of Snowmageddon. It is unbelievable.
Winter is still coming.
Yes, it went. Oh man, over and over does it come? Holy cow!
Oh my God! The problem is that winter isn't just coming; winter is bukakiing. Good night, everybody.
Well done.
All right, so that's AEW New Year's Smash Nights 1 and 2. So, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good. Young Bucks, 8-man tag from the first night. Wardlow, Jake Hager, Kenny Omega, Rey Fenix, Serena Deeb.
Abaddon Mulan.
Nope. Serena Deeb, Ty Conti, and Darby Allin, Brian Cage. I think between 11 matches, about half, a little more than half, ended up being solid to great. So, that's a check in the positive column for AEW. The bad, they really do, as I said before, need to space out their backstage in-ring skits that they do with some actual wrestling. Break it up a little bit more because you're doing 3 and 4 in a row and it gets monotonous. Again, and then the ugly. All of your midgets and homeless people and gym teachers win matches. None of your big guys ever win matches.
Yeah, and the Cody Rhodes stuff just has to stop. It's like, somebody stop him, please. Please put a dart in these angles. No Shaq, no Snoop, no Jade, please, no more.
Somebody listening might be like, but Miro. Okay, Miro should have crushed Chuck Taylor. That's the point. It's like regardless of who got the victory, if it's booked where it's 50-50 or the other guy actually is tougher than you, is getting more than you, and you somehow pull out the victory, that's not good booking. No. And this is something that AEW consistently does badly, is they give everybody from Marco Stunt to Chuck Taylor 50-50 with these monster tanks that they have, and the monster tanks don't ever look like you're actively bringing down the value and the look of your monsters almost every show.
Agreed.
Your 50 words or less final thoughts on nights 1 and 2, and then we'll get out of here.
Fun time of wrestling. I mean, you had a lot of bad mixed in with some good there, but like you said, there were a lot of highlights, so I consider this a win overall. Some of the angles, they really got to stop the midget stuff. That really has to stop. We got to get back to a little bit of seriousness in the wrestling. And I think one of the biggest things that AEW is struggling with right now is continuity of the storylines. And we're seeing it, a lot of nonsensical stuff, or the middle chapters don't make sense to get to the main event. You know what I mean? A lot of this stuff with the Young Bucks, it just doesn't make sense. And, we got to sort of clean up and get to a logical conclusion to a feud or a storyline without this mess in the middle. And I think the Miro stuff is messed up. I think the entire Kingston versus the Pac feud and all that type of stuff, it's messy. Everything is messy right now. And there's something to be said for nice, clean storytelling week to week, but we got a lot of muddled going on there. So I think that's a little bit of a downfall. If 2021 can fix a lot of that stuff, I think AEW will be in a good spot, because we got a lot of young talent on the horizon. And for God's sake, make Sting do something. Please have him wrestle.
Okay.
Something.
Keep going. Spend the next 2 minutes or so doing your plugs.
All right. So you can find me over on the Twitter at Charlton_Hero. You can also find me on Parler. Wait a minute. You can't find me on Parler. What's happened, Mark? I've been kicked off my right-wing conservative website. What's happened? I've been beaten down. Not only that, you can also find me. I have my own podcast. That's right, Superhero Satellite. I'm doing a little box set. It's 4 episodes. The next episode is going to be the toy episode, where I'm going to have a special guest on board with me, and we're going to be talking toys. So if you were a fan of toys in the 80s, 90s, whenever, you're going to love the hell out of episode 2 of the Superhero Satellite podcast. And you can find it right here on the W2M network, right along with our wrestling coverage and everything else the Radulich and Broadcasting family does. So there you go. That's me. That's Chris Bailey. Mark Radulich, what's up?
All right. Well, if you enjoy the brand of comedy you just got here from Chris Bailey and Mark Radulich, well, you won't have to wait too long, because we got another wrestling show. Everywhere Kenny Omega goes, we go, because he's our buddy. So he'll be showing up this Saturday night at Impact. Hard to kill. That's the joke, right? Impact certainly is hard to kill. So we'll be back here Tuesday, January 19th, to review Impact Hard to Kill. In the meantime, in between time, myself and Pat Mullen will be getting to our next chapter of boxing. We'll be looking at the wrecking machine that was George Foreman. Jesus Christ. That guy hits you and your brains fall out of your ears. Yep. We will be reviewing, myself and Christian will be reviewing Bounty Hunters by Ethan Sachs, and then, of course, we'll be reviewing The Mandalorian Season 2. Myself and Sean Comer are going to put the Karate Kid 2010 on trial, and then Thursday, January 21st, we'll be reviewing Cobra Kai Season 3. You can check out...
Here, the Karate Kid 2010 is guilty. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's what everyone says. The verdict is already in. Christian and I reviewed the second volume of the Boys Trade Get Some, which was issues 7 through 14. Myself, Jesse Starcher, and Robert Winfrey reviewed the second season of The Boys, brought to you by Amazon Prime. So that's all in the archive, so you can go ahead and check that out. And if you're wondering where the second Podsman is, well, he pitched to us that we should do the WWE Superstar Spectacle, which will be debuting on the network and all throughout the world on various channels on January 26th. We will review it on January 28th. The Podsman, looking at an international wrestling show. That shouldn't end too horribly.
No. What could possibly happen with Jinder Mahal and the what are those? What is his boys called?
The Ding Dongs.
Yeah, the Ding Dongs. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong?
No, we're absolutely culturally sensitive here.
You're terrible. I have no part of this. I'm not on this show.
Right.
Mulan, go ahead.
All right, folks, that's our review for AEW New Year's Smash. For Chris Bailey, be well, be safe, and behave.